Hey y'all, Melissa here at Twin Oaks Family Farm. Thanks for joining me at our YouTube channel, Twin Oaks Farm Poultry. This video is a Watch It Later Wednesday for November 6, 2024. Going to give you the video recommendation from my Watch Later list here just in short order. And also want to talk to you about the saying, success is never owned, it is leased, and rent is due every day. So not sure who to credit that to, but after I give you the video recommendation, I want to talk to you about how that saying came to my mind from this video. On the surface, they don't seem related at all, but I drew a connection that I'm excited to share with y'all. So welcome back. I am going to share the video recommendation right away here so that if that's all you have time for in this video, you can get that recommendation and discern if it's a video you want to go watch or not. And then if you do have time to hang out with me and want to stay joined in the video, you can just hang out and I'll tell you about that saying and the connection that I came up with when I watched the video. So, video recommendation. Watch It Later Wednesday. I've got a lot of videos on my Watch Later list on the YouTube app, and I started through watching them and decided I wanted to share with all of you at least once a week a video that I watched from my Watch Later list and my impressions of it and my recommendation, watch it or don't watch it. So, been working at doing that. We're only going to do this Watch It Later Wednesday through the last Wednesday in November, but this week's is one that it took me a long time to go ahead and watch it for two reasons. I'll tell you that after I reveal it. And when I give you the recommendation here just in a few moments, I don't know what the reaction is going to be, because I think just the title itself and probably the channel it's on could possibly be a trigger. It's going to trigger one thing or the other. It's going to be appealing or appalling, I think. I don't think there's going to be a lot of middle ground on this one. So I hope you'll stick with me and hear me out a little bit on it. But the video that I watched and recommending from my Watch Later list this week is called Big Pharma is Fooling You Again and You Don't Even Know It. And it is on the Tucker Carlson channel on YouTube. So, so a lot of strong feelings I think can be brought up by different channels. I think a lot of strong feelings can be brought up by thinking about pharmaceuticals and the pharmaceutical industry and the term big pharma. And just to think that somebody's fooling us or pulling the wool over our eyes, that triggers an emotional response. So, so I hope you'll hear me out just a few minutes here on that video recommendation. But I had it on my Watch Later list. It was uploaded about 9 months ago. And I think I put it on my Watch Later list just really shortly after it was uploaded. And I have really stalled on watching it for two reasons. One, because the length of it. So it's about 45 minutes long. And as for many of us, it's just difficult for me to set aside 45 minutes and block it out to watch a show, And granted, a lot of things can be watched while you're doing other tasks. And this video is one. You could actually let it run while you're doing other tasks and just take it in by ear and listen to it. But it has a lot of in-depth information in it too. So it is one that if you are interested in the topic, I really think you'd be better served not multitasking, focusing on watching it, taking in what you can, and then, replaying some of the parts that you want to dwell on more. But it takes a while to watch it. So that was one thing that held me back getting it watched. The second thing was I kind of had a foreboding about watching it that it would trigger some things that I feel strongly about, that my household has strong positions on. So I was kind of like, do I want to do that to myself? Do I want to put myself in that position where I'm going to watch this that, I know things are going to come up in it that really already bother me, but to know more about them is really going to startle me and probably somber me quite a bit. And so that really was how it played out watching the video. It's a very serious topic, and it's hard to watch things that you already have strong feelings about when the video is basically reinforcing the strong feelings you already have but knowing that it's such a big issue that you really can't go out there and do anything about it other than maybe tell people, hey, you might want to give this a watch, and encourage people to be empowered in their own, I was going to say, in their own wellness. I guess that's what I want to say there. To encourage people to be empowered in being their own advocate for their own wellness. So, and for us to advocate for each other in our wellness. So basically the video, Big Pharma is fooling you again and you don't even know it, is basically exposing through an interview where Tucker Carlson is interviewing a man who is dedicated to sharing with people about the pharmaceutical industry, and in particular, one product from the pharmaceutical industry that in recent times here has really shed light on how the pharmaceutical industry is impacting particularly American people individually and collectively. And it brings a spotlight to one of my impressions that in many cases, the American people are somewhat of a pawn in Big Pharma's play. PAWN. The American people are somewhat of a pawn in Big Pharma's strategy and in the game plan. So you'll have to go link to it. You can read the description, watch a little bit of it, see if it piques your interest, if it's a topic that you think you even want to go watch. So the video is called Big Pharma is Fooling You Again and You Don't Even Know It. So basically that's the Watch It Later Wednesday recommendation. I did watch it all the way through once. I actually am going to watch it a second time because, like I said, it is so in depth. It is so in depth and detailed. The man being interviewed is unpacking a lot of information, and I want to listen again. And I would say, if you do go watch it, so many times we have strong feelings about whatever we're hearing or observing, and in our minds, we're formulating our feelings and our reaction before the other person has even finished explaining their thought, right? So if you're going to watch it, you're better served watching it from the perspective of just open ears, open mind, let me hear it. Then I'll process what I heard and decide, do I agree with this? Do I disagree with this? Is this important enough that I want to tell other people about it? So, if you're going to take the time to watch it, I ask of you, take the perspective with you to hear it before you begin processing it. But a lot of information in it, and I will tell you at the end, I found this really interesting. Almost at the very tail end, one of the last points that the man being interviewed makes is he says that people can improve their biomarkers. So basically your wellness. People can improve their biomarkers within 3 months with functional medicine. And so let me just put here how I interpret that. And let me give you an example with cleaning, like household cleaning, like we're going to clean surfaces. There's two kinds of cleaning, okay? There's chemical cleaning, where I'm going to spray a chemical on there, or I'm going to take a wipe, that has chemicals in it, a chemical solution in it. I'm going to take that wipe and wipe that surface. I'm going to spray that surface and wipe it down. So chemical cleaning, the aim is to kill off the pathogens and to eliminate the pathogen exposure by killing the thing causing the exposure, okay? In chemical cleaning, it does not mean that the pathogens are wiped away or removed. Very frequently, they're simply smeared around, remember, because we killed them. So they could actually still be on the surface, but they're killed. So chemical cleaning may just smear the pathogens around, may not remove them, but its aim was to kill the pathogens on the surface. And they may remove the pathogens when you wipe them away, but they may not. But it's almost certain they're going to leave behind some kind of chemical residue. That chemical cleaner is going to leave behind some kind of chemical residue. Now, there's another kind of cleaning. called mechanical cleaning. And so when people clean with those, there's been a rise in popularity of microfiber, very densely woven microfiber cleaning cloths. And that's the difference. Those are aimed at mechanical cleaning. So you're using the cloth and actually wiping the pathogens away so that the pathogens are gone. And the upside of mechanical cleaning is that not only are the pathogen exposures gone, there's no chemical residue left, okay? So this is my interpretation of understanding the term functional medicine relative to pharmaceutical medicine. When we use pharmaceutical medicine, we're putting some kind of chemical solution into the mix in the body to change some kind of process in the body or to kill off pathogens. It doesn't mean that we're effectively removing something that's causing the body havoc, but it does mean that we're trying to compensate for it. And it also implies that most likely there's some kind of residual, from that chemical solution, probably, that could impact the body, okay? So sometimes not. Some things that we are able to put into the body, really the body totally excretes and there's no residue, but not always. And the more and more things that are chemical solutions that you load the body with, the harder and harder it is for the body to decipher through them and still function effectively, right? So that's kind of pharmaceutical medicine in my interpretation. In functional medicine, we're not putting like a chemical solution into the mix. We're saying, okay, what can we do with things that we know can positively impact biomarkers, such as rest, exercise, nutrition, and time management for the purpose of de-escalating the effect of stress on the body. So when he said functional medicine, that is exactly where my brain went. Rest, exercise, nutrition, and time management. And if you're sticking with me, I want to tell you about what that triggered in my mind, a connection it made that I think you might find interesting, that I'm excited to share with you. But I loved hearing that at the end. And like I said, it was right at the tail end. If I hadn't stayed till the end, I wouldn't have heard that. And that was probably the number one thing that stuck with me out of the whole video. People can improve their biomarkers in 3 months with functional medicine. And so that's, if you believe that I'm interpreting it wrong, put it in the comments and respectfully put it in the comments, but help educate me, help educate the community. I'm open to hearing that. But that's what I heard. That's what I interpreted and understood when I heard functional medicine can improve the biomarkers in 3 months, okay? And so many times, and why is that so important? Because so many times you hear when people are put on a medicine, their body basically becomes dependent on it. They have to be on the medicine long term or permanently. And so what that's saying to me is that's not really improving things in 3 months. That's just making your body stop trying to improve whatever was impacting wellness and rely on this pharmaceutical chemical solution going into the body. Whereas on the other hand, if we can do something that's functional, that basically helps the body recover its ability to sustain wellness, and it can possibly do it in 3 months, let's try that first. But that's exactly what this interview is exposing. Big Pharma really is in opposition to that perspective. Okay, so at any rate, if it's not going to trigger real negative emotions in you, it is a very worthwhile video to go watch. Big Pharma is fooling you again, and you don't even know it, on Tucker Carlson. Uploaded 9 months ago, about 45 minutes long, over 3 million views on the video, over 3 million subscribers on the channel. I will put a link to it in the comments and description. In my experience, when I put that link, it's an active hot link, so you can just press right on it and go over to that video. Now, so little bit more time. Let me tell you about the connection I made when I heard functional medicine and I thought of rest, energy, nutrition, and time management. So, have to give you a little family background first. Couple things. I'm a household of 5. 2 of us are in our 40s, 3 of us are young adults, all 5 of us. And I say this in all humility and gratitude, because I recognize that there, but for the grace of God go I, and that were anything any different, everything could be different. But all 5 of us, nobody is on prescription medicines. Nobody is on ongoing prescription medicines. It's been years since we've had even a short-term prescription for, like an illness or something in our household. So basically, whenever something comes up, we're coming to watching that video. Big Pharma is fooling us again, and we don't even know it. We're coming to that and coming to our day-to-day life with the perspective of, okay, when we have aches and pains, when we are exposed to viruses, when we don't feel well, we want to try to discern, is this something beyond my ability to help myself and I need to go to a doctor? Or is this something within my ability to help myself? And consistently, if it is something making us ill that is within our ability to help ourselves, it's going to come down to one of those 4 things. How am I managing the rest that I'm getting? How am I managing the exercise that I'm providing my body? How am I managing the nutrition that I am giving my body? And how am I managing the time management? Am I managing it in such a way that I'm overloading my time and escalating my stress? Or am I managing it in such a way that I'm being realistic about what can be done in the time that I allot to things, thereby de-escalating my stress? Because stress really is a trigger for a lot of physical expression of unwellness, okay, in my observation, in our opinions. And this is my opinion and experience as a mom, a wife, household established for over 20 years. So many times when we don't feel well, it comes down to rest, exercise, nutrition, and time management. So I want to be aware of that in managing my own wellness. I want to be aware of that in helping my family with their wellness. And then when we discern that, well, we're doing those things to the best of our ability to give our body its best opportunity to sustain wellness, but we're still not feeling well, then we know that's a time we're most likely going to have to involve a doctor to help us, right? So that's the perspective I'm coming at this with. The other thing that's important to note about our background is that of the 5, and I think I just said this, but of the 5 of us, none of us are on prescription medicines. Why is that important to this perspective? Because our observation amongst our friends, amongst our acquaintances, amongst people in general, if you lined up 5 random people, what are the chances that none of them are on prescription medicines? When I go to the different jobs that I work away from home, off farm, and you interact with your coworkers, if I at any given time think of any random 5 people that I work with, I don't know that I can come up with a single 5-person sample in which nobody is on a prescription medicine. Can you? So when I register that about my household, that there's 5 of us, 2 in the 40s, 3 that are young adults, and none of us are on ongoing prescription medicines, that stands out to me as something atypical in the American culture. But that should be typical in human culture. And so that's why I said, it was hard for me to watch that, because I had a foreboding sense that I probably already strongly agreed with a lot of things in the video, that I was going to hear a lot of justification for some of the things that I only had logical observations on, and that I was going to have to come face to face with the reality that it's such a large issue, and I would want people to be empowered to advocate for their wellness, but it's such a large issue that how do we even start to help each other work through it, So anyway, but that rest, education, nutrition, and time management, here's what I want to tell you about that. So our sons have all enjoyed being participants in a high school football program with the local school district. We are a homeschool family, but they've been able to participate in athletics. So in this picture, this was the year that they all were in high school football together. 61 was a senior, 20 was a junior, and 4 was a freshman. 4 is currently a senior. So this is, as a family, and us as parents, this is our 7th consecutive year as high school football parents. I think they're going to let us graduate this year. But our guys, you know, as 3 young men, they each brought a different level of talent, different level of skill, different level of intensity to being football players. But it was something that they shared as a common interest and got a lot of enjoyment out of. And they enjoyed front yard football as much as they enjoyed Friday night football. You know, we have a big front yard, and it was something they could all 3 go do and fill their time with and bond over. So, you know, football was a big thing for our family. And so one thing we would do, not every year, but one of each guy's football years, we would go get some t-shirts, and we'd go over to the local t-shirt printing shop. Shout out to Rockbox in Southeast Ohio. And we would say, here's a list of sayings. Can you do this on a t-shirt? And so they would do that for us. And just the best folks over there at Rockbox. So at any rate, the oldest one, he was 61 in the picture that you saw. One of his shirts, we had put on his shirt, "Success is never owned. It is leased, and rent is due every day." And we did credit, at the time that we looked it up, we kept finding a football player of the time. So this was probably like 6 or 7 years ago. Well, 7 years ago. So we found a football player, you know, that at the time was saying that phrase. So I've since looked it up and found it credited to multiple people. So it's clearly a phrase that's made the rounds. People use it. People are familiar with it. It resonates. So success is never owned, it's leased, and rent is due every day. Rent. And it made me think of this topic of sustaining our wellness, of making choices that bolster our wellness and don't deteriorate our wellness, right? And so no doubt, there can absolutely be things beyond our control that nothing we do will make go away as far as health issues. We can have health issues that are totally beyond our control that we can't make go away. I understand that. And I say this, as I said, with utmost humility. But I also believe that in almost every situation, when we take care of things that bolster our wellness, we are able to feel better and improve our health and know that we are doing positive things for our body's ability to stay well. So those 4 things: rest, R; exercise, E; nutrition, N; and time management to manage stress, T. Success in bolstering our wellness is not owned. It is leased from our future self. And rent is due every day in the form of managing our rest, managing our exercise, managing our nutrition, and managing our time so that we de-escalate the effect of stress in our lives. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you stayed to the end, because only the people who stayed to the end got that little nugget that I just think is a great connection. Rest, exercise, nutrition, rent. Rest, exercise, nutrition, time management. It's a great little, I don't know if the right word is it acronym? Is that what we say when, you know, we can line up the first letters of a series of words? So I'm going to call it an acronym. So RENT is a great acronym for rest, education, nutrition, and time management to help bolster our success in physical wellness. Thank you for joining me. Thanks so much, y'all. We wish you abundant blessings from Twin Oaks Family Farm in Southeast Ohio, and I sure hope that you'll join us again. I don't know if I'll show you this little bonus. We'll try to just roll up to the next minute. I don't know if y'all caught the little video that I did. I think I called it "My Husband Can't Believe I Bought This for Our Kitchen." I got myself a tool bench or workbench for my kitchen to store things like cast iron. What do you think of that? So catch that video if you want to. Thanks so much for joining us here at Twin Oaks Family Farm.